Lời đầu tiên xin chào các độc giả đã đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com. Khi tìm đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng, chắc hẳn bạn đang mong muốn tìm cho mình một công cụ tốt nhất trong quá trình rèn luyện kỹ năng. Kỹ năng ở đây có thể là kỹ năng lãnh đạo, kỹ năng bán hàng, kỹ năng mềm, kỹ năng sống và rất nhiều các kỹ năng khác. Thông thường khi nghĩ đến việc rèn luyện các kỹ năng như chúng tôi đã đề cập ở trên, chúng ta thường hay nghĩ đến việc tìm mua cái đầu sách hoặc tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Nhưng trong cuộc sống bận rộn của thế kỷ 21, thời gian và tiền bạc là hai thứ luôn bị giới hạn nhiều nhất. Với sự ra đời của website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com, chúng tôi mang đến cho bạn một công cụ tốt hơn trong việc rèn luyện kỹ năng của mình, đó chính là các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng. Bạn sẽ không còn phải tốn quá nhiều thời gian để đọc sách hay tốn quá nhiều tài chính để tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Chỉ cần bỏ DVD vào đầu máy, ngay lập tức bạn đã có thể tận hưởng những thước phim quý giá được chia sẻ từ các diễn giả nổi tiếng tại Việt Nam và trên thế giới. Website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cung cấp đầy đủ cho bạn các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng trên nhiều lĩnh vực. Tất cả các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng của các diễn giả nước ngoài có tại website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com đều có phụ đề 100%, hỗ trợ tối đa cho quý độc giả khi theo dõi. Rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cam kết chất lượng tất cả các DVD khi cung cấp cho quý khách hàng. Với hân hạnh được phục vụ cho rất nhiều các khách hàng trên cả nước. Chỉ cần click đặt hàng, trong vòng 1 đến 3 ngày, bạn đã có thể cầm sản phẩm trong tay. Rèn luyện kỹ năng hân hạnh được phục vụ quý khách.
Dr. Joan Borosenko is a respected scientist, licensed clinical psychologist, gifted therapist, and best-selling author. Trained in cell biology, she received her doctorate from Harvard Medical School. She is a pioneer in the field of mind-body health and well-being and has inspired millions of listeners and readers to achieve their life goals.
Thanks. Thanks so much for coming. You should all get a chance to be applauded for like that. It does a lot for your immune system, let me tell you. We've come here today to talk about our crazed, busy life, where so many of us feel completely imprisoned by the to-do list. And you're nodding, so I know that's true. Sometimes you think what on earth the purpose of life is, to get everything done. And then, as my good friend Loretta LaRoche says, your tombstone will say, got it all done, dead anyhow. So we have to figure out how we can get the to-do list done and live to tell about it. How we can live with a sense of joy and a sense of peace and a sense of community and a sense of creativity, so that when we get up in the morning we can say, I'm so glad to be alive. I can't wait for what's happening next. Now, I've got good news for you. The peace and the joy you seek is not something outside of yourself. It's not something that you have to look for here and look for there and say, gee, I'll be peaceful when I get the report done. Or, I'll be really peaceful if I lose the 10 pounds off my thighs. It's something that exists inside of us every moment. And all we have to do is part the clouds of busyness and care and concern that cover that joy and creativity and peace that really are the essence of what it is to be human. Now these days, it's really common for people to say, yes, I'm on the search, I'm on the journey for inner peace, and to really do their best to get there. The trouble is this. We think, okay, what could I do to get inner peace? Maybe I could learn to meditate. And if that's good, maybe I could take a yoga class. And if that's good, maybe I could learn some of these Tai Chi exercises. That would be good. Maybe I could get up at 3 in the morning and then I could finish all these inner peace exercises by noon. This would be great. And then you know what happens? We don't do anything. You give it all up. I can tell you what my motto is right now. Do what you can, not what you won't. It's small steps. If you can learn to breathe, which we'll do together. If you do a meditation that lasts for 2 minutes. If you can adopt an optimistic attitude that you take with you all the time. That's it. It shouldn't take any extra time to have peace of mind in our busy world. It really is a matter of figuring out what is going on in your mind and learning to manage your mind, to take control of that, to come into the moment, and you don't have to be a hermit or a yogi to do it. Now, the ordinary busy life, we all know what it's like. I got up a couple of weeks ago, I made the coffee, I poured my first cup, I rushed to get my email, I fought with the computer. There's almost nothing worse than a computer that turns against you, is there? There's just something, unbelievable. And so I rush back to get my second cup of coffee. The coffee pot is gone. I can't believe it. I'm thinking, who was so desperate that they came in here and stole my coffee pot? How could that have happened? And then I start to ask my secretary, have you seen the coffee pot? This is when you know you've lost it. You've gone over the edge. Finally, she comes into the kitchen to help. She opens the cabinets, and I have actually put it back in the cabinet with the mugs. This is a cue. This is when you say, I'd better take some time out to retrench here and make another plan. I better do a little bit of deep breathing. I better step back. I better find my peaceful center before there's a wake of trouble that follows me. And that's what happens often, isn't it true? We get so busy that we misplace the coffee pot, or we have no time to listen to our loved ones. I think that's the very worst. Some of you here have probably heard the term compassion fatigue. It often happens to people who are in service kinds of jobs. And they're there because they care about people. They love people. They want them to be healthy, to be happy, just like we do with our families. But we get so busy that we end up thinking, I don't have time to listen to you. And suddenly the very people that we love the most and want to serve the most end up being pains in the butt. That's the really, really difficult thing. And once again, I had an awareness that this happens in my life too. My husband, Kurt, who's sitting over there, the one who looks like Albert Einstein. Kurt and I went to an antique store. I wanted a little stand because I have this beautiful statue of Kuan Yin, who's the Chinese bodhisattva of compassion. So you look at her and you're supposed to think, I could be peaceful. My nature is kindness. And in the store there was a really pretty stand, and it was made of lemon wood, which, being a thin tree, is irregular. And every one of the legs was actually a different color. It had an interesting history. And the man was telling us about the history and telling us about the history. And my inner dialogue is going something like, God, I wish he'd shut up. I just want to get out of here. I have to go back to the house. I have things to do. I have books to sort. I have reports to write. I have things to do. And then he says, the person who brought this stand in for sale, I know it has a wonderful story behind it. I'll have her give you a call. And I'm thinking, no, 1,000 times no. And at the same time, a piece of me is saying, isn't this what I really long for? Isn't this what I'm missing? The sense of community? The sense of somebody will call you up and tell you the story of an antique? And once again I thought, I've got to do something to help myself and help other people, because the world is so busy that what we long for, to fill our hearts, to fill the sense of emptiness we have when we get so lonesome because we're so busy, well, what can you do? We have to make time for it. Now, I have good news about taking the time to relax. When I used to run the mind-body clinic, some of you actually know where that clinic was. It was at actually 2 different Harvard teaching hospitals. People would come in and they would say, learn to relax? If I learn to relax, I'll never get the to-do list done. I will lose my edge and I will turn into a sloth. And nothing could be further from the truth. Turns out that learning to relax can make you more efficient. And I'm going to demonstrate how stress affects productivity. Because you've all had the experience where a deadline is looming, and suddenly you're removed from slothhood, and you can produce incredible amounts. I've had that so many times writing a report, and I always think, thank God for deadlines, because they make me do miracles. Suddenly they take dissipated energy, and it makes you coherent. And